Hey Chris, this is Tim Gleisner, Head of Special Collections here at the Library of Michigan. Talking to you, as you mentioned, from our rare book room. Today we're going to talk about a few rare finds that we have here at the Library of Michigan related to Michigan history. Specifically today we're going to be talking about a man named Lewis Hennepin, who was alive during the 1600s and wrote a couple of works about Michigan and the Great Lakes when he traveled through here in the 1680s and 1690s. And so today what we're going to be looking at is first this work from 1698. It's Lewis Hennepin's work dealing with his travels throughout the Great Lakes. And I was just going to read you a little section, and it's called A New Discovery of a Vast Country in America, Extending Above 4,000 Miles Between New France and New Mexico. New France being Quebec and New Mexico being Mexico as we know it today. And so Lewis Hennepin was a Belgian priest who basically traveled with a man named La Salle, the explorer La Salle, through the Great Lakes, and was part of that whole expedition that really founded or started building the first ship on the Great Lakes and sailed it until it sunk in Lake Michigan. But the reason why I wanted to do this today was just because we have two editions of this work, one in English, which is the one I'm holding right now, and talks about sailing through Michilimackinac back in 1681, where he talks about that he parted and was obliged to draw provisions from Michilimackinac, and they had to pull their canoes over the ice in 1681 up Lake Huron, and then 5 or 6 leagues broad. The ice being broke, we embarked upon the solemnity of the Quasimodo, which we had an opportunity to celebrate, having by good fortune met with a little wine, which a Canadian had brought with him, Canadian being a French Canadian. So it's works like this that you find in our collections, but what's even more spectacular is this. And this is from the French edition. And this is a little earlier. This is from 1697, and it's from his expedition that he took from here in Kingston, Ontario, which was called Fort Frontenac on Lake Ontario at the very eastern edge. And he took it across the lakes all the way over to the Mississippi River, again, part of his travels with La Salle. And you'll notice certain little references like Fort Miami, which would be down in present-day Indiana today around St. Joseph. And you notice some of the things on here like Lake Erie and Lake Ontario, Lake Huron, Lake Illinois, which we know as Lake Michigan. Notice the shape of Lake Erie because the French really couldn't go into Lake Erie all that much because they were fighting with the Iroquois. All this is documented in this very, very early map of what we know of today as the Midwest and the Great Lakes region, of the United States and Canada today. Here we have the Mississippi River. And again, what's amazing about these works and why we collected these is because it tells the story, the greater story of Michigan that we know today. Michigan, at its really very inception, Detroit, at this time won't even be founded for another 20 years, and Detroit's really one of the first communities founded around 1700 here in the state of Michigan. So all this is right here, and it belongs to the rare book collection, which anyone can come in and look at and view anytime. We do ask if it's in the rare book collection that we stay with people, so they have to come in, they tell us what they want to look at, and we can show them and open it up for them and basically have them view it in our reading room at the rare book room at the Library of Michigan anytime we're open, Monday through Friday 10 to 5 or Saturdays 10 to 4.